Hello, everybody. I am Kelley Braun. I am an international marketing director with the Juice Plus Company. I live in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is just north of Boston. And part-time, I'm living over in the UK with my husband who's working over there. I didn't talk about that, but we're lucky to have a business that is international. So I get to work when I'm in England with my husband, which I couldn't do if I was working as a physical therapist. Anyways, I thought it would be beneficial to talk about the how. How do we do what we do? How do we get into conversations with people and make connections? And what does that look like? Because that is the action that we need to take to be successful. And there's something that is a little bit awkward when you start to talk with people about how they choose to feed themselves. It's really easy to hit a nerve. So the challenge becomes, how do you stay in a dialogue and a conversation with people as you're trying to figure out how can we help them in their journey and help them commit to what we know, because of all that we know would be amazing for them, whether it be gut issues or celiac or lactose intolerance, etc. So we're going to talk about how you get into the dance and how you kind of create that conversation with people. And I like to, when I'm working with a new rep and they say, oh, so-and-so is really interested in Juice Plus, I like to say, what are they looking for? Because if you don't know what they're looking for, you haven't asked enough questions of them, because they're thinking, what is in it for me? So you want to ask enough questions so that you can connect what we have as a solution to their challenge. So asking those questions, you want to ask at least 3 questions. And I have a list of a couple questions that might be helpful. If someone's explaining to you about what's going on, you can just say, tell me more about that. So how long have you been dealing with that? What have you tried so far? How is it impacting your life? When you've tried different things, what has been helpful? So ideally, what you want to do is you want to get them into a conversation. You want the dialogue to be going back and forth. I like the challenge of really trying to engage in conversation. Is there eye contact? Are they interested? Or are you getting a little bit of a pushback because they feel like it's a little bit too pitchy? There's a saying in Mary Kay that the person that does all the talking goes home with the product. So if you're doing too much talking and you're doing too much like you should do this, you should do that, people know that they should be doing certain things. You don't want to should on them, because then they feel badly and you're going to get pushback. You want them to be the hero, help them be the hero, acknowledge and appreciate that they are looking for solutions, and find out, are they open? Next, what you want to do, if they're open, you can say, if I send you something, a story or information about that, are you interested enough to listen, to look, to read, etc.? And they're going to say yes or no. So you want to keep the dialogue going. I like to look at the acquisition for customers or working with your potential Juice Plus customers as fishing. Okay, you want to make sure that you're putting your fishing lines in the area where there are people that are interested. And then you want to find out what they're looking for so that you can pick what you put on the hook. I like to make it specific. If I'm working with a doctor, I like to say, what are some of the things that you're seeing in your office? What are some of the issues? If there was something that could make a difference with that, would you be interested in taking a look? And then I'll go into the research and find one study to share with them, not giving them all of the research because that can be overwhelming, but one study specific to cardiovascular or inflammation or whatever it is. So you choose that one little thing to put on the hook, and then you have to check and see, are they nibbling? because they might be interested. So that follow-up is so important. The fortune is in the follow-up. If you don't follow up, they don't think you care. If you don't follow up, they don't think that you really are paying attention. So really making a note in your phone or whatever, when you send something, try to follow up within 24, 48 hours. Have some sort of system. I like to use my day timer and I'll write down all the conversations that I'm having with people. I write down their names so that I can flip back in the next week and see who I was having those conversations with and follow up. Like, what was it that was interesting to you? Did you get a chance to listen to? The other questions that I love is one that we got from Rachel Smart, where they're thinking themselves, what is in this for me? So your job is to figure out what is in it for them. So you want to ask those questions. Ask about their family. I remember my introduction to joining the business, I got a three-way call that was out of the blue from Lolly, who got me on Juice Plus, and her sponsor, Pam Shepley. And they asked me about my kids. And I thought, wow, somebody actually cares. Like, I got teary because they were asking about my kids. And, as a mom, you care more about your kids than anything else. And then we had these amazing results with Haley on the product. So they said, can you think of anybody else that you'd want to share this with? And of course, you want to share good things with people. And that's when I, slowly thought about stepping into the business. And then it kind of exploded after that. You can ask about their occupation. What do they do? What do they like about what they do? I worked as a physical therapist. I loved helping people. What I didn't like was when I was at work finishing my notes and it was time to pick up my kids at school. That was one of the worst stresses that I experienced as a working parent. What are their recreations? What do they like to do? Are they active? Athletes, I love to talk with them about the ability to recover more efficiently so that you can perform at a higher level. And then their mission, what's important to them in their life? What is it that they like? So really dialing into the conversation. If I find like I'm talking too much, I like to stop and ask a question. I literally will say to myself, put duct tape on and ask a question. Duct tape over your mouth. And I might even just say, do you take anything? So now you're finding, and they might say, well, yeah, I take a multivitamin. Now you have something to talk about. Or they might say, I really like isogenics. Great. Tell me more about that. What do you like about that? If they're committing to taking something else, find out more about how that came to that conclusion and how they decided to do that. Then some of the other things that we talked about is sometimes you get pushback and people might say, oh, this is one of those MLMs, isn't it? You can say, well, depends on what you're talking about. It's really networking and it's direct selling. And you want to find out more about, do they have a bad experience, and really engage in what is their emotional component to that. We know we have what we have, and we have answers to many of those things. If you're a newer rep and you're not sure of the answer, it's a perfect opportunity to jump into a three-way connection call with your upline sponsor. Say, you know what, that's a really good question. I had the same concerns. Do you mind if I just pull in my friend to help answer those questions? Because our job as distributors is to help that person get educated so they can make an educated decision about either adding Juice Plus to their diet and or joining us in the business. If you have somebody that's a health professional or a nurse, I like to put them on the pedestal and say, oh my gosh, we have research. I'm not great at reading research. I love the fact that it is there, but would you be willing to take a look? I'd love to know your opinion. I also like to ask, can you share with me some of the things that you're seeing as a nurse? What does it look like? If it's a nurse in a school, you can say, share with me how diabetes has changed, because we know it's doubled in the kids and it's an issue. And then we can say, well, we do have some information that's published in the Journal of Pediatrics on diabetes that was funded by the NIH, the National Institute of Health. So that was not funded by Juice Plus. So just finding out really, how did they make a decision? What is it that's really interesting to them? And then engaging in that conversation, help guide them to make the decision to commit to their own health. If people want to put in the chat certain questions or pushback that they get when they're out and about, go ahead and do that. And I'll try and work with you on how you can kind of get into the dance. You want to stay in the dance, right? And you want to kind of stay connected to the person, because the reality is people need time to make the decision, typically. And I find that the people that ask the most questions and do the most digging are probably, like Linda, are probably going to be the best customers, because they're making that educated decision. They're committing to really look at what it is and see if it's a fit for them. So by the time they become a customer, they're committed. I have a new customer in the UK that's having a horrible time because she took all the capsules all at once and things became really reactive. So it's like, are you willing to work with it? I know this is going to be good for you, but we need to do a slow start. And the fact that she's willing to do that slow start, I'm making her the hero. And I'm like, we're just going to do one red for a week. And you tell me how it's going. I told her you can even go down to half, take half of the powder out and put it in there and take it with food so that you already have the digestion going. And I'm going to work with you, you work with me. It's worth getting through it, because on the other side, you're going to have some of the goals that you want to get, which is a healthier gut and a better weight, which is, I know, what she's looking for. And we have amazing doctors, like I see Candace Corson on here. So it's such a great voice for us and does so many great calls. And we're so lucky, because of our research, that we have these really intelligent, smart doctors that are helping us share the message, and they can explain the science. Does anybody have questions? Let me just look in the chat if there's anything specifically that people want to share. So lastly, I just want to say that I think we know we have something amazing in our hands, and the challenge of sharing it and getting into dialogue with people is the challenge. It's the how-tos and the action of getting in it, having that confidence, stepping into the conversation, making those full, wholehearted, authentic connections with people, letting them know that you really care, because ultimately they want to know that you care about them, not just about the sale, and taking care of your customers. And that's what makes us different from many other companies. So thank you for being on. Thank you for listening in. I hope you found this valuable, and go get in the dance, put those fishing lines in the water. And as I tell my team, when that fish is in the boat, let me know and we're going to celebrate. You got to celebrate those people that make the commitment. So thanks, Linda. You did a great job. Thanks, Carol.
But yes, thank you. Lots of notes. I have a whole page of notes I've already written down. Remember, these are all recorded on my YouTube channel. So we can go back and watch and take more notes if you need to. Thank you so much, Kelley. I appreciate all of your help tonight. Every single bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Next week. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was
Good night.
great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Edie.